Hi everybody, my name is Chloe Hudson and this is World Peace Projects. Thank you for joining me. So I just did a channeling from Archangel Michael on the topic of Shadow Twin, and I would like to communicate about my experience of Shadow Twin in this life. So we have spoken on twin flames, and I feel I've given a bit of an understanding of how to recognize and understand the definition of twin flame. We have talked minutely on twin souls, and I'll get into that in another video. Many of us have heard of soulmates, though very few of us understand shadow twin. And I find this to be an extremely important topic because I believe that many people may be with or have met or interacted with their shadow twin, maybe not 100% shadow twin, but some version of this, and have mistaken this for a deep soulmate connection or a twin flame connection. In my personal life experience, I have been in an intimate long-term relationship with my shadow twin. And at the time I did not understand what twin flame was, what shadow twin was. I knew what soulmate was, though I was very drawn to this person. It started out very light, as many relationships do. You are attracted to one another and you see things in each other that you would like to express and explore in yourself. So you come together in communion and you connect. Though with shadow twin, very quickly and extremely potently, one will begin to manifest their darkest fears, their most intense pains through life, and reflecting each other's illusions, each other's insecurities, invoking unnecessary pain body. This could be anywhere from somebody simply being rude to you or to the worst possible case you can imagine. Horrible things that we see in the news, reasons people go to jail. Shadow twin is the expression of all of the illusion within self. Now this is a huge thought, because if you were to look at in the mirror all of the darkest illusionary insecurities within you, all of your experiences on a soul level, all of your experiences through infinite lifetimes, and kind of compress them into a reflection of one person. If this is your 100% shadow twin, which means that all of the essence and energetics of the soul aspect of your shadow twin has become manifest in another human or individual. Sometimes we have partial shadow twins, just like we have partial twin flames. This simply means that the soul aspect that has come forth in this life to you is not 100% of the soul of the twin flame or the shadow twin if they're partial. Though if you have manifested meeting and becoming in relationship with your 100% shadow twin, please recognize that this is absolutely going to be detrimental for your well-being. It will be psychologically upheaving. It will be very painful, scary at times, and downright unloving to self. Because their role is to show you all the things within you that are alive, that are of ill will, that is of fear, that is of pain, that is of darkness. Now, what's the point of having shadow twin? Well, that's a good question. I was in an on and off 2-year relationship with my shadow twin, I don't know, about 7 years ago. And it was extremely devastating. I went through more pain and strife in very unnecessary ways that coming out of the other side of it, I couldn't understand why, as somebody who at that time was aware and on a spiritual path, would choose something so painful, so devastating to my happiness factor, to my self-love, and being so devoted in this relationship. And after I channeled a little bit about it, one day, it took about a year after the end of this relationship, and I had worked on releasing this every day thoroughly. And finally, I suppose I hit a certain point where I was ready to tell thyself. And I channeled and I heard the understanding of shadow twin, because I had never really heard this before. And then I went and I did a healing, and my guides took me up to a place. It was like a graduation in a way. And I was standing, and this is through meditation, I was standing in front of a high council, and they were congratulating me on basically winning a war, coming through the other side. And they were giving me these, what I guess I would explain as honors or medals. And they said to me, the reason that you chose to have this experience is because as a soul, it was extremely important for you to know that you could unconditionally love the darkest, most painful, illusionary pieces of you. And this was so profound to me, because in my human perspective, I couldn't understand why I would choose something so catastrophic to my happiness, so unhealthy as a human. Though registering that as on a soul level, if I can love the darkest parts of self, I can absolutely thrive and love the most light and beautiful parts of self. Now, I am not condoning going into relationship with shadow twin. In fact, I think one should absolutely steer away from that type of relationship, whether this be with self or another individual, because we have experienced shadow twin all the time in our lives. Every time we think bad of ourselves, or we beat ourselves up, or we move through our illusions when we know that we could do other things that are more loving for self. This is shadow twin. And ultimately, it is important for us to experience a bit of this polarity in our life, because that is the human illusion. And we are working to ascend out of shadow twin 100% and move into divine complement of self. Though if you are in relationship with shadow twin, it will be very apparent to you, because there will be an extreme magnetism to this person in a way that feels almost impossible to detach from. Though at the same time, you will be in extreme amounts of pain. The reflection of this relationship for both people will cause drama, strife, unhappiness on infinite levels. And it could be as simple as just being unhappy in a relationship to being in a life-threatening situation with somebody who is pure evil. It just depends on the reflection of your shadow energetics within self. So please take time to think about this. If you are in a relationship that is so tumultuous and addicting, compulsive and obsessive in a way, you feel so tied to them, and in certain ways they bring out so much beauty in characteristics in things that you've never experienced, but on the majority level there is simply pain and there is evil about, because I promise you that the shadow twin is an expression of evil on some form. I know this sounds very intense, but it's quite important, because I think we have all met people in our lives that are in extremely unhealthy relationships. And it is very easy to become psychologically addicted in relationships and tell ourselves things that keep us involved, even though we know it is not healthy for us. It is not what we need. So your shadow twin will be the reflection of all the darkness that has ever existed within inside you. It may not fully express through this relationship, but that is what their purpose is meant to be. It is truly a opposites. It is not just like twin flame and how you encompass all that you are and ultimately have the potential to reflect beauty. Shadow twin, the ultimate potential will be to reflect the deepest, darkest secrets within your being, the pain that your soul has hidden and tucked away for eons. It's important to release these pain bodies, but you do not need to move through strife and unhealthy relationships to do this. You can release this pain body, these evils within all of us, because we've all experienced darkness. It is the process of the human illusion. So if you are struggling to let go or process a relationship that you know is absolutely not beneficial for you, but you are addicted, please find help for this. It is not necessary for you to not love yourself, and it is simply a reflection of the parts of you that are crying out for help. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a lovely day.